Okay, I think we're about to get started. So we have a couple of minutes to go. I'm right here. I'm here with you, and we'll get started in about 2 minutes, okay? So just hang in there. I'll get my things ready and take it from there. Hi there, for those of you who are just coming in. Hi, everyone. Thanks for coming in. Love to hang out with you guys. That's why it's called Google Hangouts, I think. So, because that way we can hang out. All right, we have about 1 more minute to go, and more people are coming on board. So, welcome to everyone as you're coming over here. I'm glad that you're able to make it for this short little free workshop or webinar on how to boost your memory. Something that I've always enjoyed doing since I was a very very little girl. So I hope that the content will help you to start boosting your memory a little bit better. All right, welcome everyone. Have about 1 more minute to go, and we'll get started with the content. All righty. Hope you're having a great day. We're in Laredo, Texas right now. We had a wonderful storm last night, which I say wonderful because we don't get storms hardly ever. We don't get a lot of rain. So it's always really great to have a downpour of rain, and kind of helps spring, freshen up even more, and especially before the Easter holiday. All righty, great. Well, welcome. I'm so happy that you're here and to this webinar on boosting your memory. I think, as I was saying a little bit earlier, when we're just logging on to the Google Hangouts, memory for me was one of the things that I practiced a lot when I was little, in growing up. My father used to encourage us to boost our memory, and we always played memory games. He mostly taught us the games that or the memory techniques that are in the Bruno First memory system, and you can find still a Bruno First book called Memory, or practical ways to boost your memory, or something along those lines, which I buy for my grandchildren and nieces, and I've even bought it for my husband because I think it's really easy to learn how to boost your memory with the Bruno First system. And it's not maybe a system for everything, but it sure is going to help you to start getting the ball rolling, so to speak. So boosting your memory is a really fun thing for me to do, and something that stuck with me all my life. But we used to take car trips, and we would go visit my grandmother, my father's mother, every 2 weeks in San Antonio, Texas. Now, we live south of that, about maybe 150 miles south, on the border town of Laredo. And so we would drive up to San Antonio every 2 weeks, and on the way, my father would have us memorize something on each page of a magazine. And we thought it was great fun, and I was really good at it. My other sister next to me, well, she was okay, but I was really good at it. I really enjoyed working with my memory, and had a knack for it. And we would learn, or we would memorize something on every page. And then when we were done, then he would, as he was driving, he or my mom would sometimes just turn the page and look, and he'd say, like, page 54, and I'd blurt out something that was on the page, or page 102, and there I go, blurting out something that was on the page. And I was always so proud. It made me feel so proud to know that I had the information, that I was able to come up with the information. And I think it's important for us to know that it is not only a memory boosting technique, but it also boosts a lot of other aspects about you. It boosts a lot of other qualities. My confidence got boosted, especially as a child. I really felt special because I had good memory. And knowing that it did that for me, when I used to teach children's programs, which I always enjoyed teaching them. They were always a lot of fun. And we got to the memory peg system. I usually set aside the child with the least confidence, or who felt they were a dummy or something along those lines. And I always taught them the memory pegs privately before I showed the rest of the team. Or if there was more than one, I'd do it to more than one. Because I saw that that them learning the memory pegs and having that edge over the other students really did boost their memory, and I would like to even think even change their lives. And I always remember, certain special children in my children's programs that really came out of the program or finished the program a totally different child because they felt smarter and they had more confidence and special, and they had something that other children didn't have, and it really made a difference in their life. So I think now having to boost your memory is not just something that helps only for memory, but it certainly will help all other areas in your life as well. And I think you're going to find it to be very beneficial for business and relationships, for your own personal needs, and to exercise that mental muscle. We need to exercise that mental muscle. We talked about some of the research that shows that not using that mental muscle, it doesn't help it to stay strong and vibrant and quick and witty. And we need to have a mental muscle that is strong, vibrant, quick, and witty. And how some research has actually showed that the more you use your brain and more you use your ability to maybe figure out solutions and problem solve and do word games and rely on your memory more through time, the more neural connections you make, keeping that mental muscle, so to speak, strong and healthy. And I think we all want a strong and healthy mental muscle. We need to have a strong and healthy mental muscle to have a wonderful quality of life and living experience. So all that being said, because I know we don't have a lot of time, I want us to get right to talking about memory. And some of the things that we'll talk about is not just only imagery, because imagery is vital when it comes to recalling information, but also your mental screen area. Now let's get something really clear. Oh, and also your mental house cleaning. So we'll make sure we cover mental house cleaning and mental screen and imagery, okay? So when it comes to memory, your memory is perfect. That's the one thing that people don't always get. They say, oh, I've got such poor memory. And it's not that you have poor memory, you have poor recall ability. And the recall ability gets better the stronger you make impressions on your brain or on your brain cells. So when you make a strong impression of information, you're going to have an easier recall of that information. So it's not just like shoving information into your head or not paying attention, because those things are not going to help you to have a good memory. So when people say that I have a terrible memory, then they're not helping themselves either, because they're programming themselves to have terrible memory or just to simply give up remembering information. So when we talk about these kinds of things we say to ourselves, or self-programming or auto-programming that's unconscious, just yet very competent, we're talking about a topic that we cover in Silva called mental house cleaning. Now, mental house cleaning means that you clean out that mind of yours, that mental house of all the gunk and the junk that you don't need. And of course, that's a big array of things. It could be words that you use that you don't need, like, oh, it makes me sick, or I feel whatever, I feel terribly, or my it's a burden on my back, it's like a kick to the liver, it makes my heart skip a beat, it gives me a headache, gives me a pain, neck in the pain, or he's a pain in the butt, any of these things that we say to ourselves, it burns me up, break a leg, I can't stand, I don't want to see, I just don't see it, I don't see it, I can't hear what you're saying, or whatever it might be. Anything that we say to ourselves unconsciously and often becomes a program, and your body is going to deliver on that program. It's not surprising that people who say, oh, it breaks my heart, it breaks my heart, it breaks my heart, often do have a broken heart. Or people who say it burns me up, may be suffering with indigestion or heartburn. Or people who say, it's eating me up inside. Think of the diseases that do just that. Or it's a burden on my back, or it smothers me to death. It's not unusual that, or uncommon to hear people who have or lung disease or lung problems, or have backaches and back problems, and we just really need to stop helping those problems to or arise or to get worse in our lives. And the words that we say to ourselves are really, really, really important to be aware of. So that's mental health cleaning. Now, when it comes to your mind and memory, so when we keep saying to ourselves, oh gosh, I've got terrible memory, and we say it with such pride, you're not doing yourself any favors. It's not a quality to have bad memory. It doesn't even look good for a person to even say, oh, I got terrible memory, and feel good about it. It's not a good thing. So we want to really watch when we say things like, oh, I got terrible memory. Oh, I forgot. Or I forget. I'm so forgetful. I completely forgot. I mean, excuse me. No, you're not forgetting. You're not recalling information. Your memory is perfect. Once the information is in there, has been impressed on your brain cells, it's there forever. Now, that you might not be able to pull it out because you weren't paying attention, or because you didn't impress that information strongly enough, or because it's not valuable to you, that's another thing. But memory is perfect. But we really need to stop saying things like, I'm so forgetful. I forget all the time. I have terrible memory. I completely forgot. So those words and those statements, you just take them out of the list of words to use, okay? That's called mental house cleaning. So just whenever you catch yourself saying something like, oh, I forgot, or I'm always forgetting, or I'm so forgetful, or I have terrible memory, say, cancel, cancel. That's how we bring awareness into our experience today. Cancel, cancel, and replace it with something better. I like to replace, those things, which I don't usually ever say that to begin with, but if I did, I would replace it with, oh, it slipped my mind, but it'll come back to me in a second. That's it. Just, and let it go. And you always know that whenever you say it slipped my mind, it'll come back to me in a second, it always does. Maybe not when you need the information, but it always comes back to you regardless, okay? So it slipped my mind, but it'll come back to me in a second. It's a great way for you to start conditioning yourself, or programming yourself that your memory is always perfect, and that you're working on improving your recall ability. But that you'll know that if you need that information, it'll come back to you. It'll come back to you. That's a very positive program. Very positive, very competent, and very conscious program to say, it slipped my mind, that's true, but it'll come back to me in a second. Okay, that's also going to be true. Or it'll come back to me just a little bit, or whatever you want, okay? So that's one thing. That's the mental health cleaning part that we really need to make sure that we understand. The other thing is that of imagery. Imagery is a very important aspect of good memory. Now, the reason my father brought the memory peg system, which we're going to talk about, or maybe the topic about memory, was because he used and relied on the peg system of Bruno First, BRUNOFURST, Bruno First. And he incorporated, with permission, a Bruno First memory system into the Silva method. The reason he used Bruno First above all the other memory systems of the time was that Bruno First used both visualization and imagination. Those two sides of the coin of imagery, and the two things that are very, very needed for effective problem solving, for creative thinking, and for building on your intuition. So imagery is one of the key things to strengthening the mental muscle and improving your memory. But it wasn't about memory. The reason my father brought it into the Silva method, it was more about using visualization and imagination, because those two things have so many practical uses in upgrading all areas of your life. Excuse me. Now, we mentioned that visualization is recalling, remembering something that you have seen before in detail and color. Now, a lot of people say, well, I don't visualize, I don't imagine, I can't picture anything. I don't believe that's true. I believe that a lot of times we want to see things clearly as clearly with our mind as we do with our eyes, and we can't. It's not the same experience. And it's also not the same experience as dreaming. And they don't happen at the same frequency either. So focused seeing takes place at the high beta brain frequencies. Imagery can take place at alpha, or anytime you internalize your focus. And usually when you internalize your focus, you're either defocusing your eyesight and or closing your eyes, which either one of those is going to slow down the brain frequency from beta into alpha. So imagery takes place mostly at alpha. And dreaming takes place mostly at your slower frequencies. That could be theta frequencies, like with your hypnagogic or hypnopompic dreams, or when you're impressed with information that was very passive frequencies, and or it's going to take place at the rapid eye movement frequencies that are a unique frequency of its own. And it may be very vivid. Your dreams may be very vivid, but yet it's not like seeing, and it's not like picturing or like imagery. When you want to recall your dreams, then that's more of what we do when we are using visualization, and that's what we call visualization. That's why we say dream control is very good, because it helps you to strengthen your ability to visualize. So in the mornings, go over your dreams, and as you go over your dreams, that is visualization, okay? Anytime you remember anything that's been impressed on your brain cells, you are visualizing. Anytime you are creating something for the first time with your imagery, that's imagination. So anytime it happens the first time, once you've created it, it's already been impressed on your brain cells. So the recall of that information is utilizing then visualization. Okay, so I hope I'm not confusing you here. So the first time you create something with your mind, with images, that's imagination, like creating a new goal, like creating a new future, like creating a new weight goal, like creating anything you do for the first time, you're creating it, okay? Now, if I keep picturing my weight goal over and over again, then I'm visualizing it. If I keep picturing that wonderful, amazing future of mine, I am visualizing it. If I keep picturing outcomes that I want to achieve, I'm visualizing. But the first time I did it, I was imagining, all right? That's the reason why Bruno First system is so valuable, is because it helps us to develop visualization and imagination, and yes, everything else that comes with it, including good memory, all right? All right, the other thing that we want to work with is to make sure that we talk about the mental screen area. There seems to always be a little bit of confusion as to what is the mental screen. I think the confusion comes because we call it a screen, and instead of maybe the mental viewing space. So it's your mental viewing space, maybe better to use as words to describe that inner experience of where you project images. So your mental viewing space, which we often refer to as mental screen, is just that space that you perceive with your mind, that's past your eyelids, away from your body, and it's out here. And it can be anywhere in that whole mental viewing area, okay? And we call that typically in the Silva method, historically, we've called it the mental screen. And I think the confusion comes in because of the mirror of the mind that has a blue frame or a white frame. So people kind of confuse the mirror of the mind for the mental screen. But I want you to be really clear that when we refer to mental screen or that mental viewing space, it's just that whole space that's out past your eyelids, away from you, and slightly above the horizontal level of sight. So it's kind of like an upward position that's very comfortable. It's just right there. It kind of would represent, or kind of would resemble, like a theater screen that's kind of up there. Most of the time theater screens are not down below you, they're kind of up there. So you're looking up into the screen, and then that space is kind of pretty much where we have our mental viewing space, okay? Now, on that mental viewing space, we're going to project images. Now, what's really important is to pay attention to your images. And we're going to make it easier to recall the images that we're going to project that we want to remember by using both visualization and imagination. In the Bruno First memory peg system, the peg is a word that has a symbolic representation in the form of an image. And that peg always stays the same. It's like a hook, a coat hook, that's always there. But what you hook onto it can change. Sometimes it's a coat. Sometimes it's maybe a shawl. Another time it might be an umbrella. Maybe it's going to be your purse. Maybe it's, so things can change. The things you hook, you hang on the hook can change, but the hook never changes. The hook always stays there. That's what the memory peg is. It's like a hook. It always stays the same. So one of the most important things for us to remember as we're creating our peg system is that the peg, word, and image needs to stay the same. So pick one that is easy for you to remember, that is clear, or creates a clear image to represent it as well. Okay, so that's your peg. Now, what we associate to the peg is, and in the way we associate what we want to remember to the peg, then that incorporates imagination. Because what you're going to do when you do associate the what you want to remember to the peg word and the peg symbol is that you're going to use a lot of color. You're going to use action. So you might want to write this down. I don't know. Well, you want to use action to make it more engaging. You're going to make it funny, make it really funny or ridiculous. Completely like, what? This is so ridiculous, so funny. You even laugh at it, but that will help you to remember it. And you can also make it or exaggerate it in size or in number. So you can make it huge or lots of them or whatever, because that will catch your attention. It's all about attention, because the more attention you put into it, the more it captures your attention, the stronger the impression of that information on your brain cells, and the easier it is to pull it out. Okay. Now, how we use the memory peg system. We'll do that first, and then we'll also learn how to use our mental screen for remembering, because you have to use the mental screen. I mean, it's vital. So how we use the memory peg system is pretty easy. You'll notice that we have 10 numbers in our number system. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 0. Okay? And so what Bruno first did was that he basically combined sounds or lumped sounds together that resembled each other, and he assigned a number to it. For example, I was going to use a whiteboard, but I decided not to, because it just seemed like it was either too clumsy and maybe too odd. So I'm hoping that if I use, give me a second here. I use maybe a pad and a paper, it might work just as well, or maybe even better. Okay, so I'll see how that's going to be working out. Now, what Bruno first did was that he basically got the 10 numbers, and he said, all right, let's go ahead and assign some sounds to the numbers. And so he said, like, for example, number 1, okay, kind of looks already like a T. And so he said, okay, well, I'll allot 1 the letter T. But the sound D is very similar. And he thought, well, I'll go ahead and also allot the letter D. So number 1 can be T or D, okay? You get that? Now, notice if it helps you to make the associations, because a lot of what we do in memory includes associations. You need to make associations. If it helps for you to make an association to remember this easier, just remember that here's that 1, and here's the 1. Okay, so T or D will always be the number 1. All right. Now, before I go on, I want you to take away the "I'm too old to remember information" hat, okay, and put on a new hat of a little child who loves to remember things and have a lot of fun remembering things. All right, stop saying, oh, this is too hard, cancel. No, this is really fun and easy. So reframe that and say something that is going to be helping you to recall information and empower you. too many times we give our power away. Yes, I know we have cell phones. Yes, I know that we're able to jot things down and maybe have speed colors, all that kind of stuff. Of course, I know that. But you're giving your power away. Stop giving your power away. Instead, empower yourself by improving your memory and making sure that you use it. Like I said in the email, you use it or you lose it. So we want to use our memory and have a really sharp memory. So let's make this fun. It's going to be fun, fun, fun. Okay? All right. All right. So one will always be T or D. Now, the one thing that Bruno first did say that, though, is that only these sounds have numerical value. All vowels, A, E, I, O, U, Y, and silent letters that you don't hear in a word have 0 numerical value. They don't count. So if you were going to use, for example, like I did, for number 1, the letter T, and I add some vowels to it, then I would add the vowels of O and E. Okay? Oh, I don't want to confuse you now. Let me just go back a little bit. I'll come back to this one. Okay? Okay, so 1 is T. So here's your 1. All right, T. And the vowels I use for this, excuse me, are T is E and A. So even the word T is going to be easy, right? Because, it sounds like the letter itself, T. So I use the word T as my peg word for number 1. All right, so number 1 is T. So what I picture actually is like a big cup of tea, but this is a really big cup of tea, and it has the tea inside, but you can actually swim in it. Or you can dive into it if you wanted to. It's that big, okay? It's huge. It's as big as my office. And so that big cup of tea is going to have inside it anything that we need to remember. So I'm going to give you a list, all right? Let's say I'm going to look around my, dog, all right? Because I'm looking at my a painting of my dog. All right, so let's associate object number 1, dog, with number 1, T, all right? The number 1 is the letter T and the peg word T. So what you do now is that you project an image on your mental screen of this big, huge cup of tea, and your dog is running and just jumping right into it, and he's swimming in it, and he's having so much fun, and he's like splashing and having a really happy time. And it's funny, and it's action-packed, and it's ridiculous to have a dog swimming in a huge, gigantic cup of tea, but it captures your attention. So project that onto your mental screen and picture all that action, the colors, the splashing, the fun that your dog is having, or a dog. If you don't have a dog, borrow your neighbor's dog, okay? All right? So that's already made an impression. Now, right now, we're taking like 3 to 5 seconds to do it, but you can always take less time to do, okay? The second one is going to be 2, number 2, okay? So look at the 2. If you drop the 2 down to its side, then it kind of looks like an N. So we use the letter N and we add vowels to it. And in this one, it's O-A-H, Noah. So number 2 will always be N, and the word is Noah. Now, Noah is that guy who built the ark. And so what I like to do is I already have an image of this big, huge ark, and Noah, elderly man with a long white beard. But what I want to do is remember what is associated to that, and I picture it walking up the ramp into the ark, like in 2s, like a male and female version of it, so that they can procreate and make more of whatever it might be. It can be a cardboard box. So imagine a cardboard box, okay? Now, Mr. and Mrs. Cardboard boxes are holding hands, walking up the ramp into Noah's Ark. So now, just for about 3 to 5 seconds, close your eyes, project that image of the big ark and a ramp, and there's Mr. and Mrs. Box walking, holding hands, walking up the ramp into the ark so they can procreate and make a lot of little boxes. I know, ridiculous, right? Okay, but that's what makes it fun. And if you want to dress up the boxes and maybe put on a bow tie or a hat or hair or whatever, it's whatever you want to do, but make it even more funny. All right, but it makes an impression. Okay, now number 3, very similar to number 2, and number 3, there you go. Drop it down to its side and it looks like this, like an M. So the word is M-A-Y, May. Okay, so there you fill it in. So what I like to do basically, and you can choose whatever you want. You can have May West, you know, hello baby, or whatever, or you can have a maypole, and whatever's dancing around the maypole is all of the different things dancing around the maypole is what you need to remember. Or you can have a big picture calendar of the month of May, and the picture of the calendar is what you need to remember. Whatever works best for you, but once you select the image, it doesn't change, okay? You keep it like that always. So, so let's look around here. A jester, you know, like a clown jester. We can use a jester because I have a wooden jester right there, and we'll use that for number 3. So I'm picturing a lot of funny dressed jesters with their pointy hats and, you know, their funny little clownish outfits, dancing, holding onto the ribbon and dancing around the maypole. So they're like all dancing around. So close your eyes and project that onto your mental screen that you have a lot of jesters dancing around the maypole. All right, got it? All right, good. Now 4 takes a little creativity. But 4, if you look at it like this, there's your 4. And then you look at it the opposite way, like this. If you bring down another stick, it kind of looks like an R, okay? So we're gonna use the R, and we're gonna use the same letters as in May, but now it's Ray. So now you have like an image of 4 brilliant sun rays. Make it 4 because that way you remember it's 4 sun rays, all right? So 4 sun rays shining on something, anything. Okay, let's say a bottle of water. So I have a bottle of water right here. So maybe now the 4 sun rays are shining onto a bottle of water that's left outside, and it's getting the water so hot inside that it's beginning to bubble and boil inside because it's so hot. And that the plastic of the bottle is beginning to get like really melty and squishy, and it's beginning to get really hot and melty. And so now you can imagine that whole thing, the sun rays shining onto the bottled water, the bottled water getting very soft and melty, the water getting hot and boily. Okay, so put that on your mental screen. Picture that. All right, good. Now number 5 is as easy as all the other ones. Number 5 is if I raise my arm and my hand up like this and I say, stop in the name of the law, you'll say, well, then there's your L, and the word is law. So 5 is the L, and the word is law. Okay, like a law officer. I typically have a policeman, and this policeman is it's whatever I need to remember. So if I look around here and I say, okay, so I have maybe this cute little bow or flowery pen, then as the object for number 5, then I can imagine this pen like in full size adult, then it's all dressed up like a police officer, and it's directing traffic, blowing a whistle, directing traffic, and it looks super cute, but it's pretty ridiculous to have a pen that's adult size, you know, human adult size, dressed up like a police officer with a foofy little top and directing traffic, don't you think? But put that on your mental screen. So we'll call it the flowery pen directing traffic, and it's a really busy traffic day, rush hour perhaps, and the foofy little flowery pen is directing traffic. Okay, good. Now 6, you'll see Another easy thing to remember is going to be 6, like that. But if you do a mirror reflection of it, it looks like a J. So the letter is J. Now, the interesting thing about 6 and the sound of J is that it not only does it have the J sound, but it's the J. Anything that kind of has that ch sound to it. So it can be like SS, like in tissue. It could be like the soft G sound, like in cage. It can be a SH sound, like in shoe, or it can be a CH sound, like in church. Okay, any of those sounds will also be number 6. Okay, so remember, it's a sound. So any of those sounds that sound like kind of like that will be number 6. Well, if 5 was law, then 6 is jaw. So you can picture a man with a large jaw, or the shark Jaws, you know, that from the movie. I typically like to picture Jay Leno because it could also be J-A-Y, or jaw, and he also has a big jaw. So I picture Jay Leno because he makes me laugh. You know, I have real funny memories of Jay Leno and the Jay Leno show, and he's kind of funny looking. He's kind of caricaturish in a way, you know, in a cute way. And so I always either tattoo what I need to remember or have it in his mouth, you know, whatever I need to remember. And if I look around here, well, there's a lot of I have candles in here. So how about we have Jay Leno with a candle out of his mouth, and as if he's smoking a candle, and it's lit at the end, and it's dripping wax all over his pants or wherever he goes, and he's pretending to smoke a candle. Or you can have the jaw. I mean, the shark from Jaws, the same thing, you know, right into this big old candle. A huge candle is floating out at sea, and he's biting into the candle. Or you might have the candle, you know, dripping on the chin of his big old, you know, chin of his jaw, and maybe dripping wax on on his chin. Whichever one of those works for you, select it, but project it and picture it on your mental screen. All right. Okay, good. Then we have 7. 7 is another easy letter to remember. So there's your 7. And if you have the 7 and a lazy 7 leaning on it, you have the letter K. Isn't that cool? But also the K sound, like in K, like the harsh or hard C sound, like in K, or the sound of G, like in gate. K. That sound will always be 7. All right. So the peg word is key. Imagine a large gold key. I mean, really heavy, and it's very thick, and it's very, very large. So a large gold key. So what do we want to remember here? How about a plate? So maybe it's a plate that is filled with lots and lots of gold keys, and it's really heavy to carry, and it weighs a lot, and it's just like these amazing solid gold keys on this plate. And if you want to, maybe you want to make the plate gold, a gold plate with a lot of gold keys on top of it. So picture how much you're struggling to carry that plate of gold keys, and how beautiful they are, and how many they are. Okay, and it makes you happy. All right, okay, 8. 8 has a loop on top and a loop at the bottom, and so does your letter F. Okay, so 8 will be F, or that sound, like the V sound, like in 5, or the PH sound, like in phone. Okay, so when you have that sound, that will always be 8. Okay, and the word here is fee, like a price tag of, let's say, $8 million. Okay, all right. So what can we? Okay, scissors. How about scissors? These scissors are scissors that cost $8 million. So they're really special scissors. Maybe they've got jewels and diamonds, decorating the scissors. Maybe they're very, very antique scissors, but they're absolutely worth $8 million. And you look at the price tag and you're like, oh my God, $8 million. And you can picture the price tag that's attached to this very elaborate or maybe beautiful or precious kind of a cutting scissors, but they're worth $8 million. Okay, put that on your mental screen. All right. Okay. Number 9. Another easy one to remember. Here's 9, and here is the B, which kind of resembles the 9, or the P. All right. So B or P will always represent 9. Okay, and the word is bay, like land and water. So if you have bay and it's like land and water, then what I like to do is anything I need to remember, I picture swimming in the bay. So if we look around here, how about a book? All right, so maybe this is the book where all the books go to get their nice reddish color on their cover. I mean, I know it sounds silly, but this is where all the books are swimming in this bay. So it's book bay. And so the books, you can picture them swimming in the bay. Some are diving in from the pier, and others are fishing, and they're all having fun. Some are just laying out, getting some sun, but that's where all the books go to have fun. I know it's silly, but that's what you want in order for you to remember. Then number 10 goes back to that very first one I was doing where I got a little confused here. Cancel. And number 10 has 2 particular numbers. It has the T. Oh, let me just do it again. It has a T, and it has the 0, right? So the 0 will always be like your hissing sounds, like in a like anything like that. So the 0, if you were to cut it up, you might want to imagine it opening up like a C or unraveling like an S. So the 0, we break it open there, will look like a C or an S. So those are all your sounds, like mouse, dice, rose. And in this case, being 10, it has 2 numbers, 1 and a 0. The 1 we said will be a T or a D, but we're going to use T, and the 0 will be an S, and you fill it in with vowels, and you have the word toes. Okay? Now, it may seem, because you haven't done this mental activity, this mental work, that it's a lot of work, but it's not. It's going to be super fun, super easy, and you're going to feel so proud of yourself for having done this. So T is toes. So what do we want to do here is remember something else. How about pencil? All right. So now we're going to remember pencil, and we're going to maybe imagine that you have 10 toes, and the toes is going to be a lot. Every toe is a pencil, maybe a different color pencil, a different size pencil, maybe whatever it might be. But you're going to have a lot of pencils, 10 pencils for your toes. Now, okay, we've only done 10 memory pegs, and we've only done 10 things to remember, but I'll bet you'll remember them all. If you've been working with me and playing with me, then you're going to remember them all. Now, number 1, inside the big cup of tea, what was that? Picture it? Yes, dog. If you have them, write them down. I want to see who's writing down their list. If you know what they are, let me give you a chance, and you can always write it down and send it to me, and I'm going to look at your list and see who gets the most. And really, they're only 10. You should remember them, all right? But if you have them already, then write them down. I already gave you the first one, and that's dog, all right, for number 1. Now, number 1, remember, it's the 1 like this, and then it's got the T on top. That's how you remember, and that's T. Oh, the word is tea, and the image is a huge, gigantic cup of tea, all right? Now, number 2. Number 2, remember how the number 2 looks, and you drop it down to its side, and now it looks like the letter N, and the word was with vowels, not A, E, I, O, no, oh, Noah. You've got the ark. What's walking up into the ark? Mr. and Mrs. what? Okay, cardboard box, okay? All right, number 3. Drop the number 3 down and it looks like an M. So add in vowels. M-A, oh, May, that's right, May. So we pretty much used a maypole. So what was dancing around the maypole? Come on. Jesters, okay? All right, number 4. 4 sun rays shining brilliantly down on and melting it and boiling. What was it? Okay, a bottle of water, okay? All right, come on, I know you can do it. And it's really good that you play along with me and that you practice this because it's gonna be easier every time. Easier every time. And nobody's writing in chicken. I'm gonna call you chickens here. All right, number 5, we say 5 was stop in the name of the law. So what was a law officer, look, what was it, first of all? If it wasn't a flowery pen. Are you keeping up with me? I want you to keep up with me. Number 6, remember the 6 looks like a J as well. And so the 6 is the word jaw. So we had several images. It could have been a man with a large jaw, or the shark that we see in the movie Jaws, or Jay Leno, because Jay is also number 6 and can also be, and he also has a large jaw. So what was associated with the peg word and the peg image of jaw? I know you know it. I want to hear you say, I want you to write to me and tell me what it is. So number 6 is candle, all right? Okay, number 7, the key. Like this, the 7, and if you have the lacy key leaning on it, so you have a key. So it was a large gold key that was on a big gold plate. Good. Number 8, loop on top, loop at the bottom. What cost $8 million? Okay, come on, $8 million. Okay, the scissors. Number 9, bay. The 9 looks like a B or a P. It could be pie as well, but we said bay. It's land and water. So what's inside the bay? Books. Very good. And 10. That's two numbers, 2 letters, T and 0. So that's our T and S, and that spells out the word toes. So you have 10 toes, and so the peg word was 10 what? Pencils. Okay. So remember, it was the peg words. The first 10 is all I want you to start playing with. Okay. Start with the first 10, and that's T, Noah, May, Ray, La, Ja, Ki, Fi, Be, toes. Simple. Memorize it like that. T, Noah. Okay. T, Noah, May, Ray, La, Ja, Ki, Fi, Be, toes. Simple. If you can remember those 10 memory pegs, you'll be able to remember 10 things every day, like a grocery list, or maybe your appointments, your to-do list, whatever it is that you need to remember. You can do that with your memory pegs, and then you can expand on your memory pegs by going by creating your own peg words, or getting a book from Bruno First, or from another one called The Memory Book by Jerry Lucas and Harry Lorraine, another good book. There's a lot of memory books, but this is all you need to start with. I mean, really, all you need to do is start to pay attention to the images you're creating and make it an easy way, or have an easy way to recall your associations. And that's why your peg system works so well. So when you associate a known with an unknown, then you'll remember that unknown much easier with the known, which is your peg, or your peg word, or your peg symbol. All right. So T, Noah, May, Ray, La, Ja, Ki, Fi, Be, toes. I always do my grocery list that way. And it doesn't always have to be my whole grocery list. It's usually the items that I only buy from time to time. And I don't usually, I would typically write them down. I just peg them. My appointments, my to-do list, I peg it. I'm always pegging things. Every day I use my peg words and my peg list. Now, another system that you can utilize is to work with maybe the what they call the method of loci or loci. So that's more or less another really easy system, but it's also association, but it doesn't make you think as much. It does not exercise a mental muscle as much as the pegword system does. I prefer the pegwords over the method of loci or loci, but I'll share that with you. All you need to do is go into your living room, for example. And when you walk into your living room, and always use a room that you're very familiar with, is that you're going to associate what you need to remember with one of the objects in the living room. Let's say you have a sofa chair, and then a wall hanging, then maybe another sofa chair and another wall hanging, then you have a doorway, then you have a window, and then you have maybe a table against the wall, and then you have another window with some bright colored curtains in it, and you have a wall piece. Maybe there's a bar, or there's a sitting area, whatever. But all these different things in that room that are always there, that don't change, they're always there, then you associate what you want with each one of those things in also a very ridiculous or funny manner that catches your attention, and you put that on your mental screen. So it's easy to do, and you can always use that method of loci. But I think, again, that it's more effective to use the pegword system. Now, something else that you can do, because I know that we're going to come out of time, I want you to memorize something else. I want you to memorize the countries of South America. All right, with me right now. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Even if we do just 10 of them, okay, because of time. But let's memorize some of the countries of South America. I did this with my daughter in less than 10 minutes one night when she was going to have a test the next day, and it kind of conveniently slipped her mind to tell me she had to memorize the countries of South America. I'm thinking, what? I said, you're going to be late to it's going to be time for your bedtime, and you're just telling me 10 minutes before bedtime? And before I got too upset with her, I said, you know what? Let's do something here. And I said, remember your mental screen, that mental viewing space in your head. She goes, yes. I said, all right, let's create an image that's going to help you to remember the countries of South America. And she said, okay. I said, but you create the image. Let's say, with Venezuela. I said, all right. And I said, what do you want as the country for Venezuela? Or the image for Venezuela? And she said, on her mental viewing space, she said, what about that really pretty glass vase that you have on that table that I like so much? And it was a cut crystal vase, very pretty. I said, okay, so that vase will remind you think, of Venezuela? And she said, yes. I thought, all right, remember. Okay, remember Venezuela, V for vase. Good? Just good. Okay, what's another country? And so she said, okay, how about Ecuador? I said, all right, what do you want for Ecuador? She said, all right, let's put eggs at the bottom of the vase, and the eggs will represent Ecuador. All right? I said, okay, will you remember Ecuador for eggs at the bottom of the vase? I said, put down your mental screen. Picture it clearly. There's the vase. There are the eggs at the bottom of the vase V for Venezuela, the eggs for Ecuador. I said, all right. I said, what's another one? She said, how about Chile? I said, all right. So she put chilies, like jalapeno chilies that we're so familiar with in South Texas. And she said, well, that's easy because it's a chili. So I'll put chili for chili, right? I said, good. So now she's got a layer of chilies on top of the eggs. All right, got that? All right, and so what's another one? And she says, Peru. So she kept layering. She was only like 8 years old at the time. So then she put peaches. Peaches, and the peaches were there for Peru. So peaches for Peru. Can you picture that? Picture the vase, picture the eggs, then the chilies, then the peaches. Okay, the vase, V, Venezuela, right? The eggs, Ecuador, Chile, Chile. The peaches for Peru, P-E, Peru, okay? What's another one? She said, now it's Colombia. I said, what do you want for Colombia? She said, well, how about a cow? And the cow, C-O for cow, C-O for Colombia, is inside the vase eating the peaches. So this is Colombia. Okay, Colombia, there you go. And what's another one? Then how about Bolivia? And I said, all right, what do you want for Bolivia? Well, Bolivia. So we'll put a bowl underneath the vase, and the vase is sitting on a bowl, and that would be for Bolivia. Okay, great. So now you have Bolivia. All right, what's another one? And she said, okay, Brazil. Okay, what do you want for Brazil? Well, how about maybe, and she at the time said another bowl. And I said, okay, there's 2 bowls now, but it's her image, didn't matter. I said, okay, but that's for Brazil. Okay, fine, you do that. Okay, then what's another one? Let's see, Argentina. So what do you want for Argentina? So she said, well, let's go ahead and make this a piece of artwork. The whole thing is like on a frame. It's a piece of artwork, and the artwork is for Argentina. Okay, you get the drift, right? Right now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 countries of South America, and I don't want to run out of time. But if I was to ask you to picture that image, you would be able to tell me all those countries. What's the V4 vase? Venezuela. Okay, what's at the bottom of the vase? Well, you had eggs. What country is that? Ecuador. And then what did you have on top? Well, Chile, jalapeno chilies for Chile. Then what's on top of that? Well, peaches, okay, peach Peru. Okay, what's on top of that? A cow, oh, Colombia. All right, and then what else was on the image? Oh, then you had Bolivia for the bowl. The second B was going to be Brazil, for the bowl. Or you could have a bra hanging if you wanted to. You could also have like maybe a bra hanging, into the here. I know it sounds silly, but what's the difference? It's just an image for Brazil, and it's all a piece of art. Argentina. All right. Right now, in just a matter of 5 minutes, you learn 8 countries of South America. And for a child, she did this when she was 8 years old. She's 33. 25 years later, she still remembers the countries of South America, and I do too. So, I mean, I think that's what you call real memory and real learning, all right? The other thing I want you to remember is about people's names. Like if you were to remember a person's name, it's easier to remember a person's name if you convert it into an image and you project that onto your mental screen. Now for me, my name is Laura Silva. Laura in Spanish is like a vulture. La aura, it's a vulture, and silbar is to whistle. So when I go to Mexico or South America and I'm teaching this part, I say, well, you can remember me by maybe having a vulture on top of my head, big vulture whistling. And it's on top of my head, and I'm like, I'm freaking out, and like getting all, scared of this big old vulture that's sitting on my head whistling. But if you put that on your mental screen, you'll always remember, it's Laura Silva. The associations will always work for you that way. Now, it's also important that you pay attention when you meet people and you want to ask them, what is your name? Look at their eyes, pay attention, listen to their name, repeat it, and say, are you from the Silvas are you from like Portugal or Brazil? And goes, oh, no, I'm from Texas, but my family came into Portugal. Oh, that's interesting. Now you know something about the person. So if you just ask them one little question and you make a connection, you shake their hands, you look at their eyes, and you listen to the words, and you convert it into a mental picture, and you put that on your mental screen, you'll remember this person. Now, Laura Silva, I like better because an aura, think about like a nice aura around me, Silva. So if you picture me with a nice silver aura, and you project that on your mental screen, then when you picture my face, when you see my face, you're going to say, oh, wait, face. Oh, gosh, it's got a silver aura. Oh, it's Laura Silva. Because you always remember people's faces, but you don't remember their names. That's what happens. People say, I always remember faces, but never remember names. No, a name is an abstract. I mean, what's in a name? But a lot of words are in a series. Unless you maybe are really good with your mental screen and you practice with it enough, then you can picture my name, Laura, Silva, like above and below me. or stamp to my forehead, Laura Silva, or Laura Silva, and you stamp me with my name, and you put that into a mental picture. When you get good with your memory screen and that mental movie space, like what we did with making the image of the vase for the country of South America, when you get good and relying on your mental screen that way, then you can literally just picture the person on your mental screen with their name on it. And if you need additional help, well, then you're going to picture the silver aura, say, around my image and on your mental screen. So you can picture my name on top, Laura, and then the silver aura goes, oh, it's Laura Silva for sure. I know that. And I mean, it'll just come to you right away. So putting maybe someone who has the same name on their shoulder, stamping the name on their forehead, changing their name into an image that you can remember. Any of those things are going to help and are going to serve you in that way. But you need to pay attention. So pay attention, look at the person, shake their hand, repeat their name, and ask something about them. Do you live in Laredo or do you live in South Texas? Well, no, actually I live in maybe California. Well, now you know that this person, whether you need to remember that information or not, doesn't live in Laredo, they live in California. You know them a little bit better, but you're paying attention and you're creating a mental picture of that person that then will help you through association remember their name as well. So far, we've already done like 4 different things. We did the memory peg system. T, Noah, May, Ray, La, Jaw, Key, Fee, Bay, Chose. The peg words the things that we needed to remember were T, dog. 2, Noah, what? Cardboard box. 3, it was maypole gestures. 4, or sun rays, water bottle. 5, stop in the name of the law, your flowery pencil or pen. 6, the jaw, candle. Yeah, good, Maria Guerra Dawson said candle. That's good. 7, the key, large gold key. Okay, gold plate. 8, a fee. Look at the top. Look at the bottom for the 8. F, fee, price tag of $8 million, scissors. 9, B or P, bay. Okay, books, that's where they go swimming, the books. And 10, toes, pencils. Okay, great. So we did the memory peg system. We did the method of loci. And I think it'd be great for you to do your appointments or a grocery list with your living room furniture and wall hangings, all right? The third one was your mental viewing space called the mental screen, and we did that to remember the countries of South America. So the V was for Venezuela. The E for the eggs was Ecuador. The C for chilies, okay, the country of Chile. The peaches for Peru. The cow, Colombia. The first bowl, Bolivia. The second bowl was Brazil, or the bra hanging out of the vase, Brazil. And it's all on a piece of artwork, or Argentina. I mean, see, memory is great. It's easy to remember. You just need to rely on several things. Imagery, visualization, imagination, and how you associate the two. The association process is what's going to help you to pay attention, make impressions, put them on your mental screen, and remember the information. You're going to make the images funny, colorful, action-packed, and exaggerated in size and number. You're going to use your mental screen, and you're going to remember to say things positively, or say positive things about your memory. Like, I have perfect memory. I remember everything. It's in my mind, but it'll come to me in a second. And never again say, I forget, or I'm forgetful, or I have terrible memory. Cancel that one out. Now, also, notice something. When you send someone to the grocery store, or even for yourself, always say, remember to bring the milk. If you want them to bring milk, or if you want them to bring something, oh, remember to pick up the laundry. Oh, remember to throw out the trash. Remember. Because if you say, oh, don't forget, what do you think they're going to do? Forget. Experiment with that. Just try it out yourself and figure it out, and make a little experiment. And notice when you tell someone, don't forget to bring the laundry, guess what? You didn't bring the laundry? What? I told you not to forget. No, what you told them was forget. So next time, only use the word remember to do this, remember to do that, remember. Tell them what you want them to do, not what you don't want them to do, okay? Well, I hope this helped, and I'm really hoping that you practice your memory peg system. You can go on Amazon and find Bruno First memory book, or also Harry, Lorraine, and Jerry Lucas, their book on memory as well, which is good. There's a lot of books out there, but start simple, because already you're thinking, oh, I have too much to remember. No, it's easy. You have perfect memory. Just use it. Don't lose it. Okay? Use it. Don't lose it. And empower yourself. Don't empower your cell phone. Empower you to have better memory, quicker thinking, more creativity, more problem-solving abilities, heightened intuition, and a strong mental muscle that will last you the whole life, your whole lifetime, okay? Well, if you have any questions, and if I can help you further, then, give me a buzz or drop me a line, write to me, and I'll be happy to help out. And I do want to say that we do have this one little section about discussion session that it's called DISQUS, and some of you have been writing in on that. And for example, I have one that Nat was asking from another time about the glass of water, that if it has to be a full 8 ounces of water, and no, it doesn't. Any amount of water is fine, but 8's about the right amount. So just, it doesn't have to be a huge glass, and I wouldn't say do a little tiny little glass either, but just don't get too picky about the exact amount of water. Whatever is in the glass is fine, whatever feels good to you. And then something about working with your techniques. I mean, techniques always, if you don't have enough desire, belief, or expectancy, they may or may not work for you the way you want them to work, such as the helmet technique. Now, you need to open yourself to be sensitive to information coming. Don't try to figure it out. Just see what first comes to mind. And sometimes it's a little tricky to notice what information does come to you right away, but you can do it. And I think you'll do fine if you just be more attentive, pay more attention to your inner experience. Don't give up. Just make it a process. It's a process that lasts a lifetime. And then Ibrahim said something about working with this mother tongue, and that you wanted to have some suggestions to improve memorizing skills. Again, imagery helps a lot. When I'm working on learning a new word, I use a lot of imagery. I gamify it. I make it fun, and I practice it several times. I put it on my mental screen. I picture it on my mental screen. I create an image for it to help me remember, and I use associations all the time. So no matter if it's remembering, learning a language, or working with remembering people's names, or a list of things, you're able to work with imagery, associations, strong impressions, repetition. That's another one, repetition, in order for you to be able to recall information. You're storing information in a very impressionable way. The stronger the impression, the easier the recall. You can do it, but you've got to do what it takes. That's all it is. Go through the process. Once you got your memory picks going, and you have them clear, you can convert words into numbers and numbers into words, like in phone numbers or addresses. The number for Skyline taxi service is Rough and Frames. Every time I go to New York City, I just dial Rough and Frames. But if you look at RUFFENFRAMES, then the R is going to be 4, and the N is going to be 2, the F is going to be 8, so 4, 2, 8, and then the F is 8, the R in frames is 4, the M is 3, and the S is 0. So 4, 3, 8430. So that would be the number of Skyline limousine service in New York City. So I know it's 212 area code, so I don't have to pick that. So then you're able to create words that will help you remember numbers or information, and just play around with it. But you've got to play around with it. I know I've already gone overtime. I apologize for going overtime, but it is a topic that I really, really like, that I'm really good at, and all it takes is just doing it. 10 pegs, A day is enough practice to build on the use of your mental movie screen, your mental space, and to develop better memory and recall ability. So good luck with this. I hope you had fun. I had a blast. I love hanging out with you guys. And I think we're having a workshop, an eye workshop coming up soon. And I believe it's going to be this month. So be on the lookout. And it's going to be on problem-solving techniques. So problem-solving techniques on the 26th of May, and that will be a more lengthier workshop, 3 hours, as we have always had them, with a PowerPoint and some meditations as well. And if you want something on memory, on problem-solving techniques, then write to us. Write to us. I can make sure that I'm prepared for you and I'm ready, and I'm able to give you the information that you need. All right. Love you guys. Till 2 weeks from now, but I'm always here for you. Just remember that. Love you. Bye.